Here lies what used to be one of the largest cotton plantations in Georgia. Back in 1790, cotton production was dwindling. Most of the slaves in America at that time were working on cotton plantations, but cotton production had become very inefficient. In a single day, one person could only produce about a pound of cotton by hand, which is not a lot considering a man's shirt requires at least 0.6 pounds of cotton, and trousers take about 1.5 pounds. If America wanted cotton to continue to be a cash crop, something had to be created to make the production of cotton more efficient. Well, something did happen. In 1793, Eli Whitney invented a machine called the cotton gin. He created this machine because Phineas Miller, a plantation manager herself, explained to Whitney the problem with short staple cotton. The cotton machine greatly sped up this process of removing seeds from the cotton fiber by acting like a strainer for the seeds. So after the cotton gin was created, this led to greater production of cotton everywhere in America, especially in the South, and cotton became king over everything. No one could have ever imagined that cotton produced by the South would become one of the largest industries and that the South will become the world's #1 supplier of this crop. The largest effect the cotton gin had on the South was on the economy. The cotton industry was fueled by slave labor on plantations in the South, and it generated huge sums of money for the United States. Because cotton farmers were no longer limited on the amount of cotton they had to clean, they began to plant vast amounts of cotton all throughout the South. It's hard to believe that the amount of cotton produced from 1790 to 1860 increased from 156,000 bales of cotton to about 4 million bales. And because the cotton gin helped produce so much more cotton more easily, the amount of slaves in the South also increased from about 700,000 to 4 million slaves. Cotton production began to control everything, hence the name King Cotton. Many have said that throughout the 19th century, cotton, in a way, tied the country together. Cotton dominated everything in the United States, including trade, northern manufacturing, and expansion into the West. All three of these things helped aid the country's economy to become an influential region around the world. With trade, cotton accounted for over half of all American exports in the 1800s. Cotton produced by the southern states made up for most of the world's supply of cotton. So cotton gave the South power through trade because they had connections with most of Europe, especially Great Britain and France. In 1800, cotton exports totaled $5 million, but by 1860, cotton exports totaled up to $191 million. So the cotton industry boosted the United States economy, allowing the South to become a force to be reckoned with. The South also made connections in the north of the United States, especially with New York. Through these connections, they were able to send the cotton that was produced by slaves up to the north to be manufactured. Northern factors would loan money to the southern planters in advance for the cotton. Then the cotton would be shipped to the northern textile mills, which in turn led to millions of dollars worth of cotton goods. Cotton didn't only power the North and South economy, but also was the cause for Western expansion. Because more land and slaves were needed to create more plantations for cotton cultivation, farmers and landowners began to expand into the western region of the United States. Once farmers began to expand into the West, they also began to produce agricultural crops, which helped to boost the economy of the entire nation. Also, because the South dominated the trade market, the South was able to foster an enormous domestic trade and agricultural products from the West. The popular phrase, "cotton is king," was used often in the 19th century because the production of cotton dominated the South's economy. Because of Eli Whitney's invention of the cotton gin, The South was able to produce an unimaginable amount of cotton, and it led to the South's domination over global trade and northern manufacturing and promoted expansion into the West. It's hard to believe that just over 200 years ago, in this very field, that slaves were laboring away using Eli Whitney's cotton gin. And because the hard work of those slaves and landowners, it set up an economic system for trade, production, and expansion for us to use today.